Hi everybody, it's Beth here again. Today I'm going to show you how to draw and paint this very cute little chick. You're going to need a pencil and some paints. We're going to use yellow, orange and white. So if you've got everything ready, we'll make a start. We're going to start by drawing the chick's head. It's quite a round head, so we just little sketchy lines, and we want to try and just draw a nice big circle if we can. So just bring it round. I'm drawing on A3 paper, and my circle is about the size of a little orange, I would say. So just little sketchy lines, just round. Try and get your little circle mapped in. So this is his head. And then we're going to come down, we're going to draw his body. His body's got a big fat tummy. So we start off just bringing it down from the top like this. And as we come down, we're going to bring our line out on both sides. So this one comes out and down. This one's coming out a bit more. And I want to probably make it come down to about here. So probably, I would say 2 head widths down, and we're going to bring it out, make him quite fat. So curve this round and down, just little sketchy lines to start with until we're happy with our shape. Now as we come down here, I've sort of brought it out just a little bit and then back in, and then again, we're going to bring it out and round. So it looks a little bit like a pear kind of shape. Okay, so you step back, have a little look, see what you think, whether you think I might make him a bit fatter. So I'm going to take this line out a little bit more, like that. And this one I might make it a bit fatter, I might bring him out a bit more. So just, whilst you're sketching him out, you just do little lines until you're happy. So I think maybe I'm happy now. So what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll rub out those first lines that I did. So that's why we always go quite lightly until we're happy with what we've got. So let's just rub those lines out. Okay. So take another little step back, just check that you're okay. So there we go. So the wings, let's pop the wings in now. So the wings are coming out, so we're going to just continue this line out and down, sloping down. I'm just doing little sketchy lines because I might want to tweak it at some points. And then probably, I would say, just over halfway down the edge of the body, we're going to bring that line out a little bit, and then we're going to bring this one down to meet it. So we've got one wing in there, and then on the other side we're going to just continue our line a little bit down, and then it's going to come out a little bit further. We're not making them completely identical. This one is, we're going to make this one come out a little bit more, and I'm taking it to roughly probably about 3/4 of the way down. Let me just, there we go, like that. All right, so we've got our wings in. Now they should be roughly the same level. Going to make his feet really simple, his legs and his feet really simple. So quite wide apart, and just continue that leg quite wide at the top, and then it comes in a little bit. So it's almost like a Y shape. And then just down a little bit. They've only got little legs, haven't they? And then back out like that. And then we'll just do maybe 3 little curves. Okay, and then foot on the other side, leave quite a nice big gap. And again, start off wide at the top, and then come down, make it a bit narrower, and then back out. And then up, 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 like that. Okay, don't have to be too precious about it. We'll just put a little line in just to show him standing, like his little ground area, just grounds him in. So all we're missing now is the beak and the eye. So let's pop our eye in first of all. His eye, he's looking to the right. So his eye we're going to put right in the middle of his face because it's the side view. So a nice round eye, quite big, about as big as a large pea, I'd say. And then another circle inside. Like that. And then his beak, what I'm going to do, just I would think probably level with the bottom of his eye. Just pop your pencil on the edge and we're going to come in like a little U shape first of all and bring it towards the eye a little bit and then curve that over, and then we're going to curve our line back down to meet the edge of the face. So this is the start of his beak. And then what I'm going to do next at the bottom, I'm just going to take this line out, quite a straight line, and then I'm going to curve this one down a little bit to bring it down, and then we're going to curve it round to meet our bottom line like this. And then we can get our rubber back and we'll just rub out that line that we first drew. There we go. So his beak now looks like it's attached to his face. And we'll just put a little line just close to the bottom line there, just to show the top and the bottom section of his beak. Might do just a little curved line there, and we'll do a little tiny oval just there. So I think probably that's all we're going to do in terms of our sketching. We're going to get our paints, and then what we might do is just work back into it with our pencil at the end a little bit just to fluff him up. So we're going to look at shading now. I'm using yellow, probably squirted a bit too much yellow out, orange and white, so just two colours and some whites, and I'm going to do this quite quickly. So to start with, I am just going to paint a base of yellow all over him. So you can work quite quickly, just do this, pop this on. And then what we'll do, we'll build our shades up and try and give him a bit of form, a bit of shade. So just painting his body, his big fat tummy, his wings. I'm obviously doing this quite quickly for you, but you just stop and pause and go at your own pace. So I'm just using little bits of paint on the end of my brush, not scrubbing, just gently putting my base layer. So a nice bright yellow. Careful around the eye. I'm not going to paint the beak, but I am going to paint the legs. Okay. So we've got our lovely base, a nice bright yellow now. So I'm going to add some shading just to try and give him a little bit of form, make him look a little bit more 3D. So first of all, let's make his head a little bit fluffy and a little bit more detail. So I'm not using a lot of orange, I've just had a little bit on my tip. I'm just going to do some little dashes, almost little feathers, just on the top of his head. So I'm not completely covering my yellow, I'm just giving a little bit of texture now. Working around his eye, around his head, like this. What I might do just to blend it in a bit more is just to then go back to my yellow and just work the yellow over the top a little bit. It just brightens it up a little bit. Okay, so we'll do that on our head first of all. Then we want to make his head pop out a little bit. So underneath his head, underneath the chin, we're just going to get a little bit of orange. Not a lot. If you get too much on your brush, what you need to do is just wipe it off. So I've got a little bit there, and I'm just going to drag very carefully. And I'm just working on the left side and just down his tummy a little bit. I'm just dragging that tiny bit of orange. You don't need a lot on your brush. Just dragging that down so it's just along this sort of angle, and I'm just dragging it in. It's best to blend the colours when they are wet. So if you find that your yellow has completely dried, then it might be worth just putting a little bit more yellow on and blend that orange into a wet base of yellow. Okay, so we've got like a definition now, so his head's popping out a little bit more because we made that section darker underneath his chin. And then I'm going to put some little orange feathers around the bottom. We want to keep this middle section nice and light because this is rounder and it's reflecting the light a bit more. So I'm just doing little dashes, different directions, trying to make him look a bit fluffy, just along the bottom. Doing slightly more on the left side because we want the front of him to be a bit lighter. So as I come along, I'm just doing, I'm getting less. Okay. And again, we'll wipe that orange off. I'm not washing my brush because I don't want to make my brush watery and the paint watery. So I've just wiped off that orange. Doesn't matter if you've still got a little bit on. And then I'm just going to work over with a bit of yellow just to blend it in a bit more. Okay, there we go. And then the wings, we're going to do something similar. So just the tips of the wing, just a little bit, not too much, just on the tips. I've only dipped my brush once. So my brush is quite dry, which is quite nice because I want this sort of feathery effect. So a little bit on the tips of his wings, and again wipe off that orange. I'm not washing, just work over it, blend it in a little bit with a bit more yellow, just dragging that up a bit, and the same on the other side. So along the bottom of his wing. Okay, I'm keeping the tops quite light. For the legs, we're going to make these quite orange, so I'm just going to really work those. I'm almost covering them with the orange, a little bit of yellow coming through, but I want to make those quite dark. So I've just put a little bit of orange over the top, and then we're going to move to the beak. So the beak, we're going to start with orange, so a little bit, tiny bit. You might need to move to a much smaller brush for this. And just not pressing hard with your brush, you just want to get a little bit on the tip. I'm going to put a little bit of orange first of all on the left-hand side of your beak. And then as I get towards the middle, I'm going to dip it into my white now. And I'm going to add a little bit of white. I'm going to drag that orange across. And then a little bit more orange. Then drag that orange across the white. So basically I'm trying to make it darker towards his face and then lighter towards the tip of his beak. You can add a tiny bit of yellow in as well if you wanted to. So there we go. So that's his beak. And then his eye, what we're going to do with his eye, we're going to do, in fact I might do white first of all. So we're going to do the whole thing white. Well, not the whole thing, just around the centre circle. And then I'm going to just dip a tiny bit of yellow and make that a really nice pale yellow like that. Okay, we're going to leave that middle bit because we'll colour that in pencil at the end. And then with our white, we just want to make some of these lighter bits a bit lighter. So give your brush a really good white. And then I'm getting my white and I'm keeping my brush strokes quite feathery, so little dashes, different directions, make him look fluffy. I'm putting a little bit of white on this roundest part of his body. Really emphasize the light shining on him, make him look a bit rounder. So just this section here. And then we'll put a few little bits on the top of his arms, just along the top. Here we go, on this arm. And then I might just put a few tiny little bits of white just along the top of his head. Like this. Okay, so we're nearly there. I'm going to just do a tiny little highlights. So it's best to put your white on when your paint is dry. Mine's still a little bit wet, but that's fine. So I'm just putting a little highlight on his beak. And then I think that's probably about all the white I'm going to do. And now I'm going to get my pencil back and we're going to add a little bit more definition, a bit more detail. So ideally you want to be doing this when your paint is dry. Mine might still be a little bit wet, but that's fine, we'll work with it. So the eye, first of all, we're going to colour in that middle section. I want to leave a nice white highlight, so I'm not colouring it all in, I'm leaving a little white spot just off centre. There we go. And then I'm going to just emphasise my eye a little bit by doing some little scribbly lines just around my eye. Just makes it pop out a little bit more. You can see? And then the beak, where the beak is pointing towards the eye, I'm just going to put a little marking, just a little marking just above that little curve there. And we can also bring out his nostril a little bit if you lost it, and his mouth if you lost it. So you can pop that back in. Okay. And then all we're going to do next is just, with our pencil, just add another little layer of detail. So little scratches, little feathers, just working around top of his head. We're not going to do all of him, just a little bit. So I'm doing a few around the top of his head, different directions, cross them over, make him look a bit scruffy. A few just underneath, so a little bit round his head. And then I'm just going to break up this line, so making it look less neat, so sort of a little jaggedy squiggly line. And again, and not continuous, you don't have to do a continuous line, you can lift your pencil off, do a little bit, and then a little bit more, lift your pencil off. And your eye joins up the dots. And then we will just put a few little dashy lines and a few little feathers along the bottom where it's darker, just emphasising the darker areas. And again on his wings, on the tips of his wings, sort of roughly in the same place where we did our orange paint. Again. Just on the tips. Okay, might do a little bit under his face. And then on his feet, I'm just going to put a few little lines just at the bottom. And I think the last bit, I think that's pretty much done in terms of the painting. So the last little bit, which I always love to do, is a few little splats. So the way we do this, obviously you get a bit of paint on your brush, you dip it into some water, and then we just flick. So dip it, if it goes on a bit thick, you can just add a bit more water. I'm doing some orange splats around, and you could do some yellow splats as well if you wanted to. So I'm just dipping it in. My yellow, getting quite a lot of yellow paint on my brush. A good dip in the water. Try not to flick yourself, which I've just done. And then some nice yellow splats too. Okay, and there we have it. I think we have finished. So I hope you enjoyed painting your chick. As ever, we've got lots more to come, so keep watching and we will see you again soon. Bye for now.